What's up, everyone? Today I want to go over some new updates I made to the PowerAz module that I've built and have published out in the PowerShell gallery. You saw me write some of these original functions when I was going through about writing advanced functions and creating modules and everything. And I've added 3 new commandlets in here, or functions, I guess, that I want to go over with you, show their functionality, and maybe we even take a look at the logic behind some of them. Just want to share this in case it helps you in writing any scripts or functions that you're working on. My name is Jeff. This is Jeff Brown Tech. Let's go ahead and get started. In case you're not familiar with it, here I'm at the PowerShell gallery page for PowerAzPlus. The current version is 1.2.2. I published version 1.2 a few weeks ago and then found a couple little bugs and things I needed to fix up with it and just published version 1.2.2 earlier today. If you want to go take a look at the code, you can click on the project site link here and it will take you out to GitHub. This is a public repository. You can come in here and go to the PSM1 file and be able to go through and take a look at the different commandlets. And again, we'll probably jump out here and take a look at what this looks like. The first function that I wrote that I want to go over is just a convenience thing. I ran into an issue where I was looking at all the virtual networks inside of my tenant in a different scenario, and coming in here and sorting by address space really wasn't super useful. As you can see, I have more than one address space associated to a VNet. A VNet in Azure can have multiple addresses in it. And I really don't see these here. It doesn't really help me come in here and see what address spaces I am using and not using. And even more than that, if I come in here and sort this, it really doesn't do a great job sorting. We're doing 10.29 and then 10.100, which is sort of in order, but then 10.0, which is not in order. And if you try to sort it back the other way, just sorting it here is not super helpful if you want to come in here and take a look at all your virtual networks and what address spaces they're using. So I wrote a little function to help in displaying that information. Let's jump out to PowerShell and take a look at how it works. Out here in my PowerShell window, I've already ran Connect AZ account, so I'm connected out to my tenant and have a subscription selected. First, let's take a look at how you would get this information using the built-in AZ commandlets. I'm going to paste in a command here. We have get AZ virtual network. There's a property of address space and then address prefixes within that. We're not going to try to sort it just yet, but let's run this. Again, pretty good. We've got our address spaces 10, 0, 1, but then it goes 100, 2, 3, 29. Not really in order there. If I paste this in again, and then if I try to sort it, again, it gets really close. We have 10.01, but then it jumps to 100, 2, 29, 30, almost in order. But the issue with why it can't sort these is because these are actually strings. And I guess 2 and a period is, a higher rating or, being able to sort it, the ASCII character level property or something like that. But if we go to 100, it is sorting it, but it's sorting it by strings, not by the actual numbers or the octets within our CIDR here. So what I did is I wrote a commandlet that will still get all your virtual address spaces here. You can even work across multiple subscriptions, but it turns each of these octets into an integer and then it sorts them by everything that's available there. Let's go ahead and clear the screen, and that is going to be v1.2.2. And if I just run this, it'll do it in my current context. I'm connected to my production subscription, which has all my virtual networks in it. And again, real simple, VNet name, address prefix. As you can see, we have multiple VNets names here, 001, 001, 2, 2, 2, and 3. And it's listing out each individual prefix that is associated with that virtual network. So again, don't see that in the portal. It just says, and 1 more and 2 more, not super helpful. But what the real power comes in here is if we do sort by IP, we now have actual sorting by the IP. So I have 10.0, 1, 2, 3, 29, and 100. It's actually in the order it needs to be in. And we can do this across multiple subscriptions. So if I do v1.2.2, all subscriptions, that's a switch parameter. And I do sort by IP, it's going to give us the same results. Like I said, I don't have any virtual networks in my other subscription, but that is possible here. We can do this by a specific one. So if you're not currently connected to it, you could do subscription ID, you could do subscription name, You can even do multiple subscriptions if you have 2 of them that you wanted to do it against, 2, 3, or 4. Maybe you have a lot of subscriptions, so you don't want to get all of them. Again, sort by IP. I just fixed a bug with this. That's why there's version 1.2.2. And there we go. Lots of flexibility there, what you can do with it. Next, let's jump out to the code real quick. Just want to show you a couple of things on how I actually did that in case you need to do something like that in the future. Out here in the code, let me just do Get-VnetAddressSpace. We scroll down. I have a couple of parameter set names because I don't use specifying the subscription ID and name, or all subscriptions you need to pick one there. But if we come down here, what this is doing is breaking down the octets. And the solution I came across, again, this was from ChatGPT, which helped me out with this, is taking that first octet and multiplying it by this number, which is actually 256 to the third. So it gives it, a higher integer value, and then this, and then this, and then this, and all the way down to 0. And it gives you just a single octet for a single number to be able to sort the IPs by that octet. I did create a custom object type called VNet sortable object. That way it only outputs the VNet name and the address space by default. Actually, I kind of forgot I did that. Let's try that here. If I were to come in here and to do format listing, you can get a lot more information here, including that IP address integer. So this is the integer it's actually creating to sort the virtual networks by their address space or their address prefix. But if you need more information about where it's all coming from, the name, the ID, the resource group location, the CIDR, which is just the identification, the network identifier here, all that fun stuff. And this is held in the formats folder here, VNet object sortable, PS1 XML file. It just has all that information here. I had to learn how to do this. I've made custom types, but not one where, to make your own output display of how you want to do that there. Back to our function here, turning that address CIDR into a single integer and being able to sort on it. I think that is really, really cool. And then again, if you're specifying sort by IP, it just takes the results and sorts it by that object and outputs it to the screen. The next 2 functions are very closely related. They involve exporting secrets from a key vault and then importing them into another key vault. There is a command that will do one key at a time. I believe it's called backup AZ key vault secret or something like that, and then restore. But it only does one secret at a time, and it does export it to an encrypted file. And you can only export and then import that into key vaults that exist in the same geography. Now you might hear geography and think, oh, well, sometimes, this is a backup key vault and putting it into another region. That's not what that means. Geographies is like North America. What I want to do in this case is take this key vault here. I want to take all of these secrets, and I believe this key vault exists in Central US, and I want to take them and put them into this other key vault here that is in West US 2. That's the same geography. They're both in North America. So let's go back in here, and I have, a handful of secrets here, maybe 24 or so. And I want to get them over here into my test restore. I just want to show you before, we don't have any secrets in here. So let's go take a look at those commandlets and how they work. The first commandlet is export all key vault secrets. Now I know normally with function or commandlet names, you want them to be singular. In this case, I did break that rule a little bit because there is already a command built into the AZ modules to export a singular key. In this case, this is specifically for taking all the secrets out of there and exporting them, and then also importing all of them. So again, I understand I made this plural, but that was my reasoning behind it. And then you can just put in the vault name, and then you can specify an output path. And then I'm going to have a folder here on my root. These are the files that's going to export each secret in for inside the key vault. So I've got export all key vault secrets, the name, and the output path. Now first, here's that warning I was talking about. The target and destination key vaults must use the same subscription and be in the same Azure region and the same geography, for example, North America. So I guess this isn't great if you're moving these to another subscription, but I believe that's just a limitation of the command that I'm using inside of it. And then you can see I need to change my context here. Perfect. So let's clear that out and run this again. And we'll see it'll start exporting each of those secrets out to the output path that I specified there. Each secret gets its own file. And then if I want to do import all key vault secrets, I have my vault name that I'm restoring to, and then the input file path. Let's go back in here into key vault export. It's right here on the root of my C drive. Should take that and start importing all of them. Looks like that is working successfully. I got this earlier, a conflict. I thought maybe that was because I deleted previous secrets. They were, in a pending restore state. Not sure why then this is still giving me this issue. But overall, we'll go back and take a look at our key vault and see all of these imported. If I do a quick refresh, and you can see we now have our secrets in here. I would then need to go troubleshoot why those other two are having issues. If we go back out here to our code, I believe I have these closer to the bottom. Here's that other command that I was talking about, taking a look here, that comes with the AZ modules, the backup AZ key vault secret, but that's only for a single secret, one at a time. That's why I wrote this wrapper to be able to go through and just say, give me all of them. If you still just needed one or two of them, this would probably be your best bet. And then going back to import, there is its corresponding one of restore AZ key vault secret, vault name, and then going back and looking at that input file. In fact, let's go take a look at that documentation real quick, where it says right here, if you've added this and want to clone it into a different Azure region, and encrypted, specify know that regions must be in the same geography. Where did I get the same subscription from? Okay, I went and took a look at the restore AZ key vault secret, and that's where this comes from. The key vault that you want to restore the secret to can be different from the key vault that you backed up. However, it must use the same subscription and be in the same Azure region in the same geography, for example, North America. Interesting. So again, there's definitely some limitations here if you want to take it, cross-continent or anything like that. But if you wanted to do just a quick, maybe you're just creating a test or another dev instance, and it's in the same region. Hopefully, maybe not the same subscription, but if you're in a small environment or something like that, there's still some limitations here, but those exist within the built-in Azure commandlets, not within what I put in, with kind of the wrapper around, exporting all of them and then importing all of them. Anyway, hopefully you find that useful. You can check out that repository. Again, is out in the PowerShell gallery. It is PowerAzPlus. And as I come across other situations where I need to write something very specific and I think it'll be useful, I'll continue updating that module. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.